How's it going, everybody? In this tutorial, we're going to talk about how to play chords and scale shapes over different positions of the neck. We're going to do a 1-4-5 in the key of A right now. So that's going to be A will be our 1 chord, D will be our 4 chord, and E will be our 5 chord. So let's start by looking at what happens when we play over the note A. Now, if you've watched the tutorial before, we know that if it's a major, we're going to be playing an E shape major right there. And that's going to be the chord you'd play over the A major, right? Now if we go to the D major, you're going to be playing an A shape to keep in this position, right? And that's going to be your A shape D major. And then if we play an E major, we're going to end up playing a C shape. Now why we're doing this is because I want to keep everything in this fingering. I don't want to move up to this area when I'm trying to figure out what to solo over the top of these chords. So for your E shape, you're going to use mode 2 of the pentatonic. If you have the diagram that I provide my students, you would see this little Rosetta Stone that deciphers this. You can see the E shape chord is right inside of that scale pattern. And consequently, if you take your time and look at all of the pentatonic patterns, you can see all of these chord shapes that we're about to show. For example, we're going to just do mode 5 here. And I call these modes because they're sections of a scale. I don't like to call them shapes to conflate terminology. All right, if you look at that, you can clearly see the A shape right here. This is your A shape major, right? That would be for a D major, and you would solo over that and then just target those chord tones, meaning emphasize those notes on strong beats. Beats 1 and 3 are your strongest beats. Here we go. Let's do our C shape here, right? So we have our C shape for the E major. What scale pattern are we going to play over that? Well, it's going to be your mode 4. Now, I'm not going to sit here and start here on G sharp. I'm going to start here on E. Or I'm going to emphasize something that resolves on one of these chord tones. All right, so here's your mode 4. So this is how you would solo in one position over those 3 chords. So let's move this to another area real quick. Let's move up to this area where we have an A, D, and E right here. So my A major is going to be a C shape because I'm going to consolidate these all in one area right here. So C shape, again, what did we do for that? Mode 4. So for the A major up in this area, would be mode 4. And if you aren't sure how we come about this, well, our root is right here. It's the same thing we just did for an E going that way, so it would be exactly the same. But if I wanted to break this down, mode 2 was right here, right? So mode 3 would be here, which means mode 4 would be right here anyway. This is just a consequence of the geography, we'll call it, of the fretboard. So there's for our 1 chord, A. What do we do for the D? Well, it's right here. Remember what we did for the A over here? We're going to do it for the D right here. You're going to use E shape major, and that is going to be mode 2 of the pentatonic. Just like that. And that's what you're going to solo over the D chord. When the E comes in, anybody know what we're going to do for that? We've got an E string root, low E. We're not going this way, so you got to go this way. What comes before an E shape? C-A-G-E. G. It's a G shape. Just follow the acronym. There's our G shape. So over the E major, we play mode 1, which is essentially like playing a C sharp minor. There you go. But we're not going to target the root of C sharp. We're going to target the G shape chord tones. And there you have it. Continue this up the fretboard. I would do it in this position next as well. Just take your time going through these. I'll walk you through just a little bit. If we have an A here and we want to solo in this part of the neck, we're going to be using an A shape. This is where it gets its name right here, right? And what did we do over that? Do you remember? It was mode 5. That's right. If you guessed mode 5, you're getting this. If not, go back and watch the video a little bit. You'll catch on. The more you do this, the better you'll get at it. So there's an A. Now we've got a D. What do we do for a D here? Well, remember we did an E shape, right? That was mode 2. So what comes after an E shape? C-A-G-E-D. So now we have a D shape, and if mode 2 was right behind it, guess what mode comes after mode 2? Mode 3. You got it. You're getting this. And we simply want to target the D-shaped chord tones, which there's a few more notes in here if we added the intervals. So that's what we're going to do for the D chord. Now what do we do for the E chord? The E is right here. Remember we just did a mode 1, G shape, C-A-G-E. And now we're back to doing the same exact thing we did for the first chord when we were playing it over here. What mode is this? Mode 2 for the E shape. And I would practice the same chord progression in all 3 positions until you master it. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this.